Make sure to subscribe to the podcast and to leave us a good review. The more reviews we get, the bigger our audience gets, and the bigger our audience gets, the better this podcast will become. Hey, Ricky, let us know ways people can get in touch with us.
Sure, Tim. We've got Twitter, which is at thirdpartyrep, R-E-P. We've got Instagram at thirdparty.repair. Facebook, facebook.com/thirdpartyrepair. And email thirdpartyrepair@gmail.com.
All right, here we are back again for the Third Party Repair podcast, episode 7. We're up to now. We've come quite a bit away here. Here I am joined. I'm from Australia. I'm Tim. I'm joined with Ricky. How you going, Ricky?
Not bad, Tim. Not bad. I am in the very rainy United Kingdom right now. It's been a little while, Tim. It's good to hear your voice again.
Absolutely. Likewise. Yeah, I've missed talking to you. So I'm hoping we can have another good chat and catch up on what's been going on lately in our world. We've had some interesting events have been going on lately that we want to have a talk about. One of those things was the Henrik Huseby case out of Norway there. And you and I got to talk to him and reached out to him recently. And the three of us have been communicating via WhatsApp, and we've spoken in person to him. He's an interesting fellow, and he shares experience with us. And that's what's led us to this podcast today. Should we mention some of the goings on there and in brief for anyone who doesn't know what's going on? Should we catch them up a little bit on that, Ricky?
Yeah, sure. So Henrik is based in Norway. You'll find some information on his case or cases with Apple online if you Google it. Now, we managed to get hold of Henrik and we had a good chat with him, and he gave us lots of information on his case. Much more information than I was expecting to see, to be honest. Now, when you and me started this podcast, Tim, this is the type of, speaking to Henrik in the way that we did, was the type of information that I really wanted to get hold of and get out there. I wasn't prepared to get to it as quickly as we did. And if I'm honest, some of the stuff that Henrik shared with us, it took the air out of me a little bit. It's taken me until probably the end of last week to actually come to terms with everything that he told us that was involved with his case. Now, I have absolutely no idea why no one else has picked up his case and gone into more detail with it, but some of the stuff that Henrik shared with us was really eye-opening. And then to come away from that and then interact with the repair community as it is today, from Australia to America and anywhere in between, and see the way that they conduct business day to day, and to think of where Henrik was 3 years ago when this started.
That's right.
It's really daunting to think that people conduct their business in the way that they conduct it today, completely naive and unaware. I won't say ignorant, I'll say unaware of the way that Apple conduct their business and the type of risk that they're putting themselves under. Now, whilst I want to get this episode 7 should have been our episode with Henrik. We've still got it there recorded. Now, there's a lot of information there which has come from his court cases. There is recorded audio which has come from a public hearing as part of one of his cases. There is lots of information that I would like us to be able to share via the Third Party Repair podcast platform. But it's something that I think it would only be fair if we were to get. Well, it would only be reasonable. It would only be a reasonable thing for us to put our necks on the line with doing after seeking some legal advice. So what I'd ask from the listeners right now is, if anyone has anyone that they can put us in touch with that can provide us with legal advice based on the episode we've recorded and information that we want to put out there, which all hinges around Henrik's case in Norway, can they please get in touch with us at thirdpartyrepair@gmail.com, because I'm quite eager to get this information out there, but I am also, I won't lie, I'm fearful of the long arm of Apple's legal team coming after me just for trying to do the right thing with sharing the information, just doing it in a logical and factual way. I'd like to do it, but I don't want to cause any legal issues for myself.
Yeah, fair call. We aren't journalists, and we're not. We don't have experience in that world. We're a couple of guys who've had similar paths from over the last decade, roughly, and from one side of the world to the other. And that's what led us together. And it was a similar interest and a similar sort of view that we've both got of this industry and the future of it, potentially as well, that led us together. And I agree. I totally agree with that. I think there's no... What's the point in us putting all of this out there, and then as much as all of it would make sense for people to be aware of the contents of it, it seems silly for anyone to hide it. But, this is a sensitive case. It's a sensitive issue that we're dealing with, and not something that we want to tread lightly on. So, and that's out of respect to everyone involved. It's not only just for ourselves. I would say that's out of respect to Henrik and let's just face it, a respect to Apple as well.
Of course, yeah.
Right. So we would prefer to keep that for another time. And yeah, that's right. If anyone out there either is a legal pundit or is a lawyer or is a solicitor or whatever and knows about these kinds of laws and can reach out to us and have a chat to us about these kinds of things, not just, I guess, on the topic of broadcasting and putting out there recordings like this, but also what we can and should and shouldn't comment on. But also, I mean, while we're talking about that, potentially people who are in that same field that can provide advice to us and our listeners and our industry and business owners and employees and techs. And I guess it's everyone involved, as we've always said, customers, consumers, everyone, on things like IP law, on trademark and copyright infringement. If there's anyone who would want, you can think of this, either if you are listening to this and you're someone who'd be willing to come on our podcast, or if you know someone that would be perfect for this, maybe someone you're thinking of right now that could be exactly who we'd like to talk to, then I would love for them to reach out to us again, thirdpartyrepair@gmail.com. That's the words THIRD partyrepair@gmail.com. That'd be really appreciated. And do we want to touch on any of that conversation specifically today for our listeners, or should we hold that off for another time? What do you think?
I mean, there's a couple of important bits which I guess I'd be happy to go into, but I'd like to keep a lot of it boxed within that episode, because if that were to come to light, I think it would be a good. It was quite long. It was 2.5 hours, but it would be a good listen for people. Now, it's a bit sad, Tim, that we're even sitting here worried about putting out information from a public that is information that's been sourced from a public court hearing, and it's pretty sad that we even have to doubt it and ask for legal advice on doing it. But that is the type of fear that people like us and people that work with the diverse, beautiful, people-loving company, Apple, that's the way they feel. It's not just us, it's app developers as well. It's pretty much anyone that works with them has this, they have this aura around them where if they don't like something that you say or do, they'll cast their long arm of the law at you. Now, on that note, with Henrik's case, I came away from that and was taken a bit aback by it. And then I found out about it was about 4 in total domestic. When I say domestic, I mean, I'm calling Europe domestic to me right now. We're still actually part of the European Union, but 2 of them have been in the UK, 2 of them have been in Europe, of people that have had legal dealings with Apple since Henrik's case. And what's quite interesting to learn from these is, with Henrik's case, if you read about it online, the argument will be the Apple logo was on the display. And it's good to point out right now, Tim, before I go into any more detail, that neither you or I condone IP infringement when it is as basic as taking someone's logo and putting it on a product which was not there before and was not made by that company. So in Henrik's case, for me, having the Apple logo on the glass, that was an infringement and that was not right. That was not right or proper. The thing that took my breath away and the thing that took me time to deal with was it wasn't just this, it was a lot more. And since then, with the people that have had legal battles with Apple since Henrik's case, the line has been pushed further and further, where the most recent one I've heard of, the logo wasn't even the main point in the IP infringement case against them.
Now, that's interesting. Interesting. What was it? What was it?
So from the information I've been given on this, and I haven't spoken to the person that's directly involved with the case. I would like to. I've tried to reach out to them, but they haven't got back to me yet. But from the information that I was given, the serial number, the unique serial number, and serialization is something that we've spoken to in depth before. The unique serial number of the display was linked to a blacklisted or Find My iPhone locked IMEI or serial number device. So although the display that was used by this person was used for a repair, that display originally came from a listed phone, which was either blacklisted as reported lost or stolen or Find My iPhone locked. Now,
wow.
Yeah. Now, their argument was that this person had not done their due diligence with sourcing their parts because this component, the serial number, was linked to a listed phone. Now, it is not actually possible for people like you and I to actually search. I mean, it's possible for Apple because these are all their private databases that they use to make your functions and features work and to enable True Tone and Face ID and Touch ID and that type of stuff. They can do it. They've got databases that store these serials. No one else has access to these databases. No one else has access to them at all. So there's no way that that this person could have done any due diligence to find out whether these parts were linked to a listed phone in the first place. They bought screens from a supplier. The way that I'm looking at these things at the moment with these cases, especially in Europe, they're precedent cases. So what they got with Henrik was one of the first cases where they got someone done for IP infringement, but they didn't just go for the logo. They went for a few other things added on top. And because the logo was a slam dunk, they got the other things that were added on top over the line. Now, for any case in the future, which is similar, which hinges on IP infringement, for that to go to court Europe-wide, they would use that case with Henrik as a precedent case, and they would point to it as, the prosecution would point to it as, this happened here, this is why, and that would be sort of the starting line for that court in the next case. So then they're going to walk the line further forward, and each time they walk that line, everything that is the other side of the line becomes part of previous cases. Now, if everything they had with Henrik sticks with a second case and a third case and a fourth case, that's not just a precedent case. They've now got 4 or 5 or more cases that follow these guidelines. So for any court in the future, and the courts are behind with this stuff anyway, for any court in the future to look at a case that's similar to this and overturn it, they would in theory be overturning as many court cases as had been before it Europe-wide. They'd be overturning all of those results and basically telling all of those judges and all of those prosecutions they were all wrong. Now the ramifications for that would be huge. So
that's right.
So for me, it took the air out of me just hearing about Henrik's case, but to hear about the European ones on top of that in such quick succession, and I don't even believe that I've heard about I think it's tip of the iceberg type of stuff.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's a lot more, and the one theme other than Henrik, one theme with all of these people is they don't talk about it. They're scared. They don't want to talk about it. They're scared. They think that things are illegal that aren't illegal because they've been taken to court by Apple and they've been told X, Y, and Z. What Apple are doing is they're trying to walk that line so that we're all in a little box. We're all using crap generic parts and giving crap service to our customers, because you can't give anything else than crap service to your customers when you're using generic crap parts. And the only way to get good parts would be to go to an AESP or to an IRP.
Who then monopolizes the repair market. We've spoken about this before. It's the amount of repairs in case someone still listening to this is thinking, okay, well, that's fine. I'll just go to an Apple store. That's good. That way, I at least can be sure that there's a shop that can give me Apple products and good quality things. Then I can just go straight to an Apple shop. Okay, fine. Just remember that the volume of and scope of repairs that they can offer are minimal in comparison to what an independent and third-party repair shop is willing to and can offer. Every single day, all over the world, right now as you speak, this is happening on absolute mass, and it's something that we all sort of, I think, take for granted, and we typically do as consumers until one day we're just left with no option left, and that's the problem here. That's the potential future here, is that this over time gets to a point where it's not going to happen overnight, let's face it, because if it was to happen overnight, that would be too much too soon. I've said that a bunch of times as well, and there'd be too much of a pushback. But bit by bit, 1%, 2%, 3% of territory is ceded to Apple in this sense, and they will monopolize the repair market, which is perfectly fine for them. Of course, because they have a bottom line to protect. It makes complete sense that they would want to do that, but whether it's ethical to do that in the way that they're doing it is another complete question that the jury is out on. What I was going to say is that maybe we just did bullet point maybe a little bit the Henrich case there. So you touch, just in case anyone's listening, is still a little bit sort of what exactly happened there. So more or less the crux of that story is it's not just simply about Apple logos.
I don't want to go into the details, the ins and outs of the cases that Apple had against him. I'd like to keep that for the future episode, and I don't want to until we've had legal advice about releasing the information. I don't want to go into too much details with it.
Fair call. Do you want to talk about then more just in general about serialization and that it goes beyond pairing to logic boards and controlling repair markets in that sense, and it actually moves into the trademark side of things as well, or should we just leave that for now?
We can leave that. I think we'll come back to that. That's quite technical. That'd be good to come back to that another day.
Sure.
So something I would like to talk about just on the back of the legal stuff is that the Apple stores here across Europe, in the United States, have been shut because of COVID. I know in the United States they've opened and then some of them are shut again. As the cases sort of peak, they're being open and closed, that's fine. But third-party repair, we spoke about this in previous episodes, we are picking up the slack for the Apple repairs. So if it wasn't for third-party repair from February to March through to now, if it wasn't for third-party repair worldwide, and that's not authorized people, there would be customers that would not have access to their devices, would not be able to use them. What is really disheartening is, I've said before in previous episodes that we would get no thanks for the job that we're doing from customers or from Apple, and we haven't. Although we're getting, in some countries, we're getting referred to from Apple because they can't service their customers. Although that is happening, it is really sad to see that some of the legal proceedings that I have been made aware of have happened during the COVID pandemic. So it is really sad to see that. I mean, that's not just thanks. I don't condone IP infringement in any way, shape or form, but I mean, to be trying to run your business through COVID and at the same time be having Apple taking you to court, this
doesn't sit right. It doesn't sit right with anyone.
And there's no guidance, there's no notes from them to say, if you're a third party repairer, we expect you not to do X, Y, and Z, but to do A, B, C. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. It is a complete free for all with the information that we share with each other until someone's caught. And that line of when you get caught of what you've actually done wrong, because we don't share information with each other, it keeps getting walked.
It is interesting to think that it just seems to me that Apple, it doesn't even acknowledge it doesn't acknowledge third-party repair even exists, it seems. You know what I mean? Like you did say, people are, there is anecdotal evidence of maybe people in Apple stores just being kind and offering, any out, as a human saying, I do know someone down there that's not Apple that can look at your phone, for example. Fair enough. I don't see why an employee would feel the urge to not do that for someone who's desperate in these times. But outside of that, just from the Apple company, hey, I always say this as well. I'm not looking for them to, promote my business and go, hey, everyone check out Tim's business. But just in general, just as part of the narrative of everything that they have to say about being environmentally friendly and anything to do with refurbishing devices and apparently not being anti-repair. Maybe if they weren't, or if they were pro-repair and pro-people being able to readily and easily fix their devices with good quality components on a scale that is clearly in demand internationally, they would be talking about the fact that we exist. You know what I mean? It's like, are we even? Hi, we're here. We're over here. We are doing stuff. We're helping people who are looking for after-sales service that you don't offer.
Can't offer. And they do, but they can't offer it at the scale that they should be able to.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's a good point. And we don't get a thank you note, or in fact, not only that, we get mafia-style messages, as far as I'm concerned, that are meant to sort of go out to small members of the community that are then afterwards fearful to even talk about these stories and what they've been through, that start to leak out there a little bit. Potentially someone with a podcast like ours gets access to a guest who tells us their experience. And then we are sitting here behind these microphones right now, worried about what we can and can't say. Mm-hmm. I mean, the juxtaposition between those two things, the contrast between doing something as simple as just helping an Apple customer with after sales service that they absolutely deserve, that no one would be arguing over if they deserve it or not. The juxtaposition between that concept and then the feeling of being fearful to even discuss the fact that I do what I do in fix people's phones and I'm concerned that at some point Apple's going to have an aversion towards something that I'm doing here, that as much as I can go all out of my way to get as much legal advice as I can possibly get, which I've done, and I can cross as many boxes off, tick as many boxes off that makes me feel as I've done absolutely everything I can, there's still this remnants based on these stories that we've heard that Apple seems to have no limit to the extent that they're happy to push the point that they have. They don't believe in semantics. They don't believe in they don't believe in just common sense, it seems, and they want to push things so far that it leaves people fearful that I think I'm doing everything okay here, and I've got loads of legal advice explaining that I am doing everything okay here, but still there's this chance that Apple, as big and huge as they are and limitless with the amount of the dollars that they have to be able to put into lawsuits to really, really try and protect their bottom line as much as they are by limiting repair, without any of their customers even knowing that this is happening, because this is not common knowledge. This is not spoken about anywhere, really. You don't read this in tech blogs. You don't read anybody talking about this. It's absolutely something that people in tech blogs know about. It's no doubt that they are up on all of this, but they don't write about it. They don't mention it. They don't talk about it. Why isn't that? Why is that not the case? I'm yet to have any answers to that. If someone would like to come on the podcast and have a chat to us about that, I'd love to know.